And I think this is something where it needs to be a multiple win platform before you're able to leapfrog all the way to the playoffs.
3, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Todd Brown, That Races Show. Thanks for dropping by for this pit stop segment, the post-Darlington episode. And man, I'm going to tell you, that racing wasn't exciting there to you. If the racing in 2024 has not been exciting to you, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, seriously, I hear so many people saying that NASCAR is not the same anymore and the racing's no good. But man, these guys have been putting on some hellish shows out there, and I have been enjoying it. Now let's just get right into the racing here at Darlington, especially the finish, the stage 3 right there. But I want to start out with this right here with Chris Buescher coming down there and saying, I don't have one of these checkered flags right here. Shows how important a win is. To get that win, you're in situation going. I personally don't like this, and we're going to talk about that here in just a moment. But let's talk about this race in action again here. Brad Keselowski, Tyler Reddick out there putting on a great show for the fans, side by side, battling down to the wire. And that was up until here where that 6 car gets up into the 45, gets into the fence a little bit. And that 17 sitting there waiting in the wings. His partner shooting right by to take that lead. And I don't think this was a plan for today. I don't think there really was a plan. But I do believe the 17 was pretty cool with riding behind that 6 to see his boss man get into victory lane. Gave him a shot. I thought there for a moment that Brad was going to get a little squirrely on, but Brad was able to hold it off. But nonetheless, 17 sitting there waiting for something to happen, and it damn sure did. And then that 17 out there racing with the 45. Looked like Chris Buescher was on his way to victory once again for the second week in a row. And then the 45 coming in there, charging hard into the turn, gets up and a little squirrely, and unfortunate for both of these guys. Not able to continue on. Damage to both cars. But just like that 17 earlier, Brad in that 6, who was sitting right there in third place, leapfrogging right up to that lead, and taking the checkered flag home. Now, I love this for Brad Keselowski. I think this is great. I have been waiting for him to win. I have a admiration for this man, particularly because of the family aspect. I mean, that entire family are racers. They've been racers for a long time, and independent racers for so long as well. I mean, K Automotive Racing, since 1969, has been involved. And throughout the family, his brother, his dad, uncles, everybody being involved in this right here. And obviously his dad, Bob, you know, a legend in the ARCA series. And 1995, when the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series started up, right out there in that inaugural year with this family team, and obviously them leadership roles didn't fall far from the tree for Brad, and I love what he's doing over there at RFK. I think RFK has got to be one of the top looked at Ford teams right now. In my opinion, they're actually the top Ford team. I mean, compared to Penske and Stewart Haas and everything, getting them back into victory lane. The first time a Ford's been in victory lane through all top 3 NASCAR series this year. So a huge accomplishment for them. And man, they've just been strong. Fords have been coming on. I know they were getting a lot of slack by a lot of people, but I've seen the progress, and I mean, been really strong the last several weeks here, especially the last few. Brad having some really good runs, looking like he was going to get a win. And obviously, Chris Buescher, that 17, been strong. Really, in so many ways, should have had to win the last 2 weeks. And I have no doubt he's going to get a win here really soon. And look at that. Both of them RFK cars would be in the playoffs, which I think would be really great for them. But they have turned this organization around in so many ways, and I can only imagine what the future is going to continue with. And I hope Brad stays as an owner for many, many years after he gets out, because he's proven the sport needs him. Now let's go back to this little incident right here. I shouldn't say little, big incident between the 45 and the 17. I'm taking a look at this again. 45 coming in really hard right there. And Chris Buescher up into the wall. And again, neither one able to continue following this. And Chris Buescher following the race was not happy.
Hard work pays off. Look at this. Buescher mad at Reddick.
I know, what was that about? As soon as I knew it wasn't going to work, I tried to back out and I thought, the last thing I want to do is crack your car. I can care less about mine. I'm sorry. I It doesn't work for me. We don't have that sticker on the door right now.
Chris Buescher obviously unhappy with the situation right here, showing his frustrations to Tyler Reddick, which I get 100%. I like to see that they talked about this. It wasn't a complete altercation. Everybody let them have their way and exchange their words, which I think is great. But I'm going to say this much. I'm not going to go along with everybody else's opinion on things in so many ways, because I think this was a racing incident. I don't think this was all the blame on Tyler Reddick in this situation. If you take a look at this right here, you can see Chris Buescher. I mean, he was getting loose right here. Got up into the wall on his own prior to the 45 getting into him. Can't say, that damage right there wouldn't alone be enough that he would not have been able to continue on racing. But this is racing for the win at Darlington. And, throwback weekend. This is a big weekend for these drivers, and they're going for it. And I like to see this. If I was a team owner and my driver didn't try to win like this, I wouldn't have him on the payroll. So I love to see these guys going after it. Would have loved to have been able to see them two race it down to the victory. But still, in all, can't place the blame solely on Tyler Reddick. Not going to place the blame on Chris Buescher. In my opinion, just good, hard racing. Great for the fans. Obviously not good for those guys, and definitely not good for the 17 team. But again, I see these guys back in victory lane really soon. But this brings me to the win you're in situation, because I don't like it. I have never liked this situation right here, because it's obvious for Tyler Reddick. He's already in the playoffs. He's already secured, so he can take chances and risks that the other driver is not going to in this situation if he doesn't have a victory, which in this case was Chris Buescher and that 17 team. And I think this is something where it needs to be a multiple win platform before you're able to leapfrog all the way to the playoffs. Because, I mean, if you look at it, you win at Daytona, the rest of the year, you can make moves and take chances and do things that the other teams can't. And I don't think that's necessarily fair. I know it was made as a way to make winners be propelled more into the into the finals and everything else. And there was a situation years ago where it did suck to have a driver who could win races and everything else but not be there at the end to race for a championship. But I still think you need multiple wins. I say at least 2. And while we're at it, I don't like the situation of all the whole season coming down to one race being a determination of a champion. I know they want to be like football and everything else, but I think at least 2 races. I would like to see 3 races, honestly, to determine the championship. And I just think that would make it so much more amazing. But we're going to see what happens. If anything changes, probably not, but we'll see what the future brings. The one thing I want to talk about right here was really cool. I love this paint scheme to start with. I love that old Kellogg's throwback paint scheme. I think that was beautiful. But I loved that Terry Labonte was out there as well. And Terry out there in the driver's suit with Kyle Larson, meeting the fans, signing autographs. And I love this. I love so much about this. And here's a situation that I can't get on board with Throwback Weekend, and that's the fact that some teams don't acknowledge it. How can you not acknowledge Throwback Weekend, a weekend that you can go back into history and support the people who have been there before you with your paint schemes, your looks, everything else? I mean, fans do it. Drivers do it. I mean, look at Tyler Reddick out there with the stash. I mean, this guy, he was living it, and so many other drivers do as well. And I just don't like to see a team not show up with a throwback paint scheme, because that's what it's all about to me. It's like Halloween for NASCAR. I mean, this is your one opportunity a year to dress up, do something fun, and in the process, also hopefully make some new fans acknowledge the old days, because they're going to say, man, I like the looks of that car right there, and they're going to go back and watch some of the old racing and check some things out. Maybe learn some history on some of the old drivers who ran these schemes, and I love that, but I can't stand to see teams just show up looking just like they do every week. And I know there's politics to all this and everything else. Sponsors want their car to look like they want it to look like, but man, it's Halloween for NASCAR. Put on them costumes and have fun with it. And that brings me to Saturday. I'm going to tell you, Justin Allgaier loved the look of that car right there. Congratulations to Justin. So cool to see the different paint schemes. Haley Diggin out there with that one. A lot of people talking about that. We're definitely not going to get into that here today. But, man, yeah, I love the look of that 7 car. Looks like the old hand-painted letters. That's just something that brings back so many memories to me. That's the original racing look, and I love that. But anyways, I want your opinions on everything right here. I especially want your opinions on the win you're in situation. What do you like the way this program is right now? The platform is. Do you think it could be altered? What's your opinions on what needs to be done to fix this? Because I'm really curious just to hear what other people's views are. And also, Chris Buescher, how long before he gets in there? I mean, come on. That guy's waiting in the wings for that victory. Twice in 2 weeks should have been there. But All-Star race coming up. Man, can it get any better? Going to be interesting to see what happens there. A lot of great race on the short track, and I love it. And I'm going to be covering all this stuff for you this week, so I hope you stick around with me. And if you like what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button down there. And once again, throw them comments down below because it's what I'm here for. Let's talk some damn racing, man. But anyways, hope you're off to a great week. And as always, we'll see you at the checkered flag.